Peter, let's go over your assignment. And your assignment was to pick out and cite your sources for a research paper and also to do a 15-point outline for that paper. And let me just go through your rubrics. You do have your running head, that's perfect. Your source did not have a publication or a date, but it did have a title and a website, so you got 2 out of the 4 points for each of those sources. Remember, our source that we want ideally has an author, a date, a publication, and a website. So those are the 4 things I'm looking for. And anytime you're missing one of those, it makes the source a little bit incomplete, especially an author and a date, because you don't know if you have outdated information. So the date is really important. Plus, it's also important that somebody's putting their names to their work. I did notice that these sites were maintained by some reputable companies, so we're hoping that the information is good, but we don't know if the information is current without a date. So your sources weren't quite appropriate, but you did cite them correctly based on the information you had, and I noticed that you were able to use a citation machine. Your outlines didn't have 15 points. It's hard to get a good paragraph without at least 15-point outlines, and there's a couple of ways that you can solve that, but let's just go back to the citation machine for a second. Here is one of your sources, and it's real easy to use the citation machine because you just click MLA, which is what we're using, the autofill, we put it in, we search. Well, it's going incredibly slow. Okay. Let me go ahead and get the website. So I copy and paste it into here. Oh, I need a website first. Sorry. Okay, let me paste again. Search. And it comes up with our citation. But the 2 things you missed are your publication date and your publisher or sponsor. And like I said, those are important. So it does tell you what's missing, and if you want to go ahead with your research without that information, that's fine. Just know that your research doesn't have as much validity as if it would if you had a date and a publication, because on the internet you're not sure if somebody's just making that stuff up, and somebody's got to put their name to it if they're not making it up. But I can tell you used what information you had, and you used the citation machine, so good job on that. Let's go on to your next part here, where you only had 6 points on meat animals outline. There's a couple of ways you can fix this. Since this website didn't give you enough information about raising cattle, beef, you can always keep that same topic and pick another website and finish your outline from that. And that's probably the best way to solve it. And that way you can finish filling out. So this is the one you used. And see, this one has a date, March 14th, so this one's a little bit better. I don't see an author on it though. But what you need to do in order to be able to get a good paragraph is pick out, and never use Wikipedia, because anybody can edit that. I could go in there and edit that, and that wouldn't mean that the information's correct. Now this one has a date, it's kind of old, and it has an author. But you could use it if you feel like the information's applicable to your topic. So what you probably need to do is go ahead and pick another source, keep it on this same page, and just let's say that you're going to pick, let's look at this one, Admin, March 17th. It would be nice if we could find one from an earlier date with an author. And a lot of these are blogs and they're not going to have authors, but that's where picking an appropriate source comes in. But it did have a publication, Scratch magazine. This one's kind of old too, but it does have a date and an author. And let's just see what we get when we put it in Citation Machine. Go to MLA website, paste it, search. That didn't have a sponsor. And in this case, it probably wouldn't because it looks like this guy's an independent man. But what you need to do is go ahead and finish your outlines. You can pick another source, but leave it on the same page and just finish out so you have 15 points to write that paragraph about. And your next step in your process here is to write your 3 body paragraphs. But before you write those 3 body paragraphs, you're going to have to finish your outlines. So right here, this is what got you the most. You were supposed to have a 15-point outline for your 3 sources, and each of these 1, 2, 3 was worth 3 points for 1 point for each point in your outline. And you can see I changed that, like this one that was 7. It's probably this one. This one was 13, so you almost had them all, but you could go to a website and just pick you out a couple more facts. But when you do, list that website. Like if you, for your next website, raising dairy cows today, let's say it came off there. And then you could go ahead and start 14 and whatever information you've got. So you'd have 15 points to pull from. With 15 points, it's usually easy to pull together a nice paragraph. So that's what I want you to do, and write your body paragraphs. Finish out your outlines, and I will revise this grade, and then write 3 body paragraphs. Don't worry about your introduction or your conclusion. We do not need an introduction or conclusion until we have our body paragraphs done. We can't introduce or conclude until we know what we're writing about. So for this week, for your assignment, your objectives for this week is complete your outlines, and then write 3 body paragraphs for each from each outline. And when I say complete your outline, it needs to have 15 points. Then you're going to use those 15 points to write your 3 paragraphs from each outline for each topic. Your topics are fine. They sound very interesting. So you'll have 1 paragraph about dairy cows. So paragraph 1 is going to be raising dairy cows. Paragraph 2, raising meat animals. I don't know if that's just for cows. And then produce farming. And at this point, don't worry about a topic sentence or anything. Just get your information down, complete your outlines, and get a good draft turned into me, let's say by Friday. That's the end of the video.